Arthur Pendergast did not appear to be a predator. His demeanour suggested a man who savoured expensive tea and the poetry of Rainer Maria Rilke. Soft-spoken and dressed in tailored grey wool, he possessed a facial structure that evoked trust. This was no accident. Human evolution has programmed us to instinctively trust those who exhibit such features. His target, Dr. Aris Thorne, was a brilliant yet socially isolated research scientist who had recently made a groundbreaking discovery in synthetic neuroplasticity. Aris represented a high-value, low-shield target. He possessed immense intellectual capital, but lacked the emotional intelligence to detect the subtle manipulations that would soon ensnare him. Arthur did not approach Aris at a gala or in a laboratory setting. Instead, he employed the propinquity effect, a psychological phenomenon where individuals develop a preference for things or people simply because they are familiar with them. For 3 months, Arthur became a fixture in the coffee shop where Aris frequented. He sat 2 tables away every morning at 7:15, never uttering a word, simply engrossed in the same scientific journals that Aris read. This was a technique known as passive mirroring. By occupying the same physical and intellectual space, Arthur bypassed Aris's stranger danger filters. After 90 days of this silent observation, Arthur made his move using a strategy called the accidental commonality. He accidentally left behind a rare out-of-print monograph on neurosynaptic pathways as he rose to leave. Aris, recognizing the holy grail of his niche field, called out to him, "Excuse me, you forgot this." His voice cracked slightly, revealing his social isolation. Arthur turned, offering a warm, self-deprecating smile, and replied, "Oh, thank you. It's a bit of a dense read for a Tuesday morning, isn't it? But I find the section on protein folding to be revolutionary." In that moment, the halo effect took over, as Aris subconsciously attributed other positive traits to Arthur, such as honesty, brilliance, and kindness. Within weeks, the 2 men were friends. Arthur began employing the vulnerability loop to elicit Aris's secrets. To draw out Aris, Arthur first confided a fabricated secret of his own. "I'll be honest with you, Aris," he whispered one evening over dinner. "I didn't leave my last firm because of a better offer. I left because I couldn't handle the ethical implications of our research. I felt compromised." By revealing this weakness, Arthur triggered a biological response in Aris. When someone shares a vulnerability, oxytocin is released in the brain, compelling us to reciprocate to maintain social equilibrium. Feeling a surge of kinship, Aris began to open up, sharing details about his research, his fears that lab partners were stealing his work, and his profound loneliness. Arthur listened intently, but he wasn't merely listening. He was cold reading. He sought hooks, specific psychological traumas he could later exploit. He discovered that Aris had a strained relationship with a domineering father and an obsessive need for external validation. To become indispensable, Arthur needed to create a sense of danger for Aris. He employed a third-party provocation, using an anonymous encrypted account to send a tip to Aris's lab director, suggesting that Aris was planning to defect to a rival company with the patent. The lab director, a volatile individual, confronted Aris, accusing him of treason. Aris was left devastated, confused, and terrified. At the opportune moment, Arthur appeared, feigning concern. "I heard what happened, Aris. It's horrific. But I've seen this before. They're trying to gaslight you into giving up your rights before they fire you. You can't go back there. You need to go dark." Arthur then moved Aris into a secluded safe house, a cabin in the woods devoid of internet access and cellular reception. He framed it as a protective measure, but in reality it was a tactic for sensory deprivation and social isolation. In the cabin, Arthur became Aris's sole source of information, food, and emotional support. He began employing intermittent reinforcement, a psychological schedule known for its addictive qualities, similar to those behind slot machines. One day, Arthur would embody the nurturing father, bringing Aris his favourite foods and praising his genius. The next day he would be cold, distant, and express disappointment. "I'm trying to save your life's work, Aris, but your constant questioning makes it very difficult. Do you want to end up like your father? A man who had potential but died bitter and alone." This statement struck the hook Arthur had identified earlier. Desperate to regain the warm Arthur, Aris worked harder, wrote more, and handed over additional research notes to keep them safe in Arthur's encrypted drive. By the 6th month, Aris's identity had been entirely subsumed. He no longer knew what day it was. All that mattered was Arthur, his protector, while the outside world loomed as a hive of enemies intent on stealing his soul. Arthur introduced the final stage, the choice that isn't. "The patent is ready, Aris, but the lawyers say it's too dangerous for your name to be on it. They'll track you down. If we put it in my name, temporarily, I can shield you. We'll move the funds to an offshore trust in your name later. Do you trust me?" Aris, suffering from Stockholm Syndrome and the debilitating effects of isolation, did not merely say yes. He expressed gratitude to Arthur for the sacrifice. The day the patent for the synthetic neuroplasticity process was sold for $400 million, Arthur did not return to the cabin. Instead, he sent a courier with a single laptop. On the screen was a video message. "Hello, Aris," Arthur said, his voice now stripped of warmth. He wore a tuxedo, sipping the same expensive tea from their first meeting. "You'll find the pantry is stocked for a month. After that, the lease on the cabin expires. You can go back to the city, but you'll find that Aris Thorne is a dead man. I've spent the last year systematically destroying your digital footprint. To the world, you suffered a mental breakdown and disappeared. If you resurface, I have recordings of you admitting to stealing the research from your lab. Remember that night we drank too much? I edited the tapes." Leaning into the camera, Arthur concluded, "You're a genius, Aris, but you forgot that the human mind is the most fragile laboratory in the world. Thank you for the research. It will change the world. You, however, will just be a ghost." The story of Arthur and Aris serves as a chilling demonstration of how information control and emotional volatility can hijack even the most brilliant minds. Arthur's manipulation techniques reveal the depths of human psychology. The propinquity effect allowed him to create a false sense of safety and friendship. Vulnerability. Looping compelled Aris to share valuable secrets by first revealing a fake vulnerability. Intermittent reinforcement kept Aris addicted to Arthur's approval, while social isolation removed him from his support network, making Arthur his sole reality. Finally, the halo effect led Aris to assume Arthur was inherently good due to their shared intellectual interests. The intricate web of manipulation reveals the fragility of trust and the ease with which one can become ensnared in a psychological trap.